Hi, I'm Alex. I'm a 301 and this is my exhibition video. And this is an EMDR. EMDR stands for Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing. It's a type of psychotherapy used by some therapists to help treat patients after a traumatic experience. The theory is that by targeting specific memories, trauma, and stimuli while focusing on the repeated back and forth movement, the therapist can naturally move the mind towards lifting mental blocks and healing naturally, like a physical wound. And while it doesn't have to be done with a machine, it can certainly make things much easier, especially on the therapist. Now that you know the basics of what an EMDR actually is, I can start to explain what I did. I didn't actually come up with this project idea. My mom did. She's a therapist and wanted to use an EMDR, but didn't want to pay the huge price for it. She approached me and asked me if I could make something for her. Since she knows that I enjoy building things, she thought that this could be some good electronics practice for me. She sent me some links explaining what an EMDR was, and once I actually picked them up, I decided that it would be a really good project for me to do. I immediately began researching the basics of what an EMDR was. I came up with a list of questions that I wanted to find answers to. Things like, how big is it? How does it work? Are the lights colored? Once I knew what I was building, I moved closer into how I would build it. My mind immediately went to videos that I watch on YouTube of people engineering things. One of the things that is often used is something called an Arduino. An Arduino is a microcontroller, a sort of mini computer that's used in electronics and robotics. I've only ever used an Arduino once, so I didn't know how to use it, but I did know that it would be capable of doing what I wanted it to. I started looking at some tutorials online that talked about controlling programmable RGB lights using a microcontroller and a breadboard. I read through a couple of those and then compiled a list of electronics that I thought I would need. I ordered everything off of Amazon and it totaled up to be around $80. So if I could make this, it would end up being around 7.5 times cheaper than the original $600 ones you can buy online. In total, I've had 5 prototypes. The first few prototypes were just for me learning to use the language and code the LEDs, as well as learn how to wire up buttons to the Arduino through the breadboard. I used several online tutorials and often looked at the examples to tell what they were doing. The last few prototypes are where I actually programmed the EMDR and changed from 3 buttons to 1 button and a dial. My prototype as of right now works like this. You plug the battery into the Arduino and the code immediately starts running. The first LED in the strip will cycle through the different colors available to use, and then we'll start the back and forth motion once the button is pressed. The Arduino and breadboard are held together by a small 3D printed holder that I found online. The next steps that I plan on taking are getting the LEDs into a diffuser so you can no longer see each individual light, and then attaching it all to a stand so that it stands up like the ones you see online. After that, I hope to create a guide on how people can make their own EMDRs using the materials I did as well as the code that I wrote. I'd like to thank you all for watching and let you know that you can find the links to my portfolio page with all of my work in the description of the video.